Hi there, welcome to day 7 of week 33. Yesterday we completed the book of Proverbs, and today we're going to start and complete the whole book of Ruth. The book of Ruth only has 4 chapters, and it is an Old Testament narrative detailing the loyalty of Ruth, a Moabite widow, who forsakes her homeland to care for her Israelite mother in law, Naomi, in Bethlehem. Through her dedication and the kindness of kinsman redeemer Boaz, Ruth secures a new husband and restores Naomi's family line, ultimately becoming the great grandmother of King David. All right, so it's a quick read. We're going to be reading from the Names of God Bible this week. We have been reading, and so we will do that today. My name is Sharone, and I'll be your reader. So let's dive on in. Ruth 1. In the days when the judges were ruling, there was a famine in the land. A man from Bethlehem in Judah went with his wife and 2 sons to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech. His wife's name was Naomi, and the names of their 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were descendants of Ephrathah from Bethlehem in the territory of Judah. They went to the country of Moab and lived there. Now, Naomi's husband Elimelech died, and she was left alone with her 2 sons. Each son married a woman from Moab. One son married a woman named Orpah, and the other son married a woman named Ruth. They lived there for about 10 years. Then both Mahlon and Chilion died as well. So Naomi was left alone without her 2 sons or her husband. Departure from Moab. Naomi and her daughters-in-law started on the way back from the country of Moab. While they were still in Moab, she heard that Yahweh had come to help his people and give them food. So she left the place where she had been living, and her 2 daughters-in-law went with her. They began to walk back along the road to the territory of Judah. Naomi's appeal to her daughters-in-law. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back. Each of you should go back to your mother's house. May Yahweh be as kind to you as you were to me and to our loved ones who have died. May Yahweh repay each of you so that you may find security in a home with a husband." When she kissed them goodbye, they began to cry loudly. They said to her, "We are going back with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Go back, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Do I have any sons in my womb who could be your husbands? Go back, my daughters. Go, because I am too old to get married again. If I said I still have hope, and if I had a husband tonight, and even if I give birth to sons, would you wait until they grow up and stay single just for them? No, my daughters. My bitterness is much worse than yours because Yahweh has sent me so much trouble." They began to cry loudly again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth held on to her tightly. Naomi said, "Look, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Go back with your sister-in-law." But Ruth answered, "Don't force me to leave you. Don't make me turn back from following you. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your Elohim will be my Elohim. Wherever you die, I will die, and I will be buried there with you. May Yahweh strike me down if anything but death separates you and me." When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she ended the conversation. Naomi arrives in Bethlehem. So both of them went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they entered Bethlehem, the whole town was excited about them. "This can't be Naomi, can it?" the women asked. She answered them, "Don't call me Naomi, sweet. Call me Mara, bitter, because Shaddai has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but Yahweh has brought me back empty. Why do you call me Naomi when Yahweh has tormented me and Shaddai has done evil to me?" When Naomi came back from the country of Moab, Ruth, her Moabite daughter-in-law, came along with her. They happened to enter Bethlehem just when the barley harvest began. Ruth 2. Ruth gathers grain in the field of Boaz. Naomi had a relative. He was from Elimelech's side of the family. He was a man of outstanding character named Boaz. Ruth, who was from Moab, said to Naomi, "Please let me go to the field of anyone who will be kind to me. There I will gather the grain left behind by the reapers." Naomi told her, "Go, my daughter." So Ruth went. She entered a field and gathered the grain left behind by the reapers. Now, it happened that she ended up in the part of the field that belonged to Boaz, who was from Elimelech's family. Just then, Boaz was coming from Bethlehem, and he said to his reapers, "May Yahweh be with all of you." They answered him, "May Yahweh bless you." Boaz asked the young man in charge of his reapers, "Who is this young woman?" The young man answered, "She's a young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. She said, 'Please, let me gather grain. I will only gather among the bundles behind the reapers.' So she came here and has been on her feet from daybreak until now. She just sat down this minute in the shelter." Boaz speaks with Ruth. Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, don't go in any field to gather grain, and don't even leave this one. Stay here with my young women. Watch where my men are reaping and follow the young women in the field. I have ordered my young men not to touch you. When you're thirsty, go to the jars and drink some of the water that the young men have drawn." Ruth immediately bowed down to the ground and said to him, "Why are you so helpful? Why are you paying attention to me? I'm only a foreigner." Boaz answered her, "People have told me about everything you have done for your mother-in-law after her husband died. They have told me how you left your father and mother and the country where you are born. They also told me how you came to people that you didn't know before. May Yahweh reward you for what you have done. May you receive a rich reward from Yahweh Elohim of Israel, under whose protection you have come for shelter." Ruth replied, "Sir, may your kindness to me continue. You have comforted me and reassured me, and I am not even one of your servants." When it was time to eat, Boaz told her, "Come here, have some bread, and dip it into the sour wine." So she sat beside the reapers, and he handed her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. When she got up to gather grain, Boaz ordered his servants, "Let her gather grain even among the bundles. Don't give her any problems. Even pull some grain out of the bundles and leave it for her to gather. Don't give her a hard time about it." Ruth and Naomi talk about Boaz. So Ruth gathered grain in the field until evening. Then she separated the grain from its husks. She had about half a bushel of barley. She picked it up and went into the town, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gathered. Ruth also took out what she had left over from lunch and gave it to Naomi. Her mother-in-law asked her, "Where did you gather grain today?" "Just where did you work? May the man who paid attention to you be blessed." So Ruth told her mother-in-law about the person with whom she worked. She said, "The man I worked with today is named Boaz." Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "May Yahweh bless him. Yahweh hasn't stopped being kind to his people, living or dead." Then Naomi told her, "That man is a relative of ours. He is a close relative, one of those responsible for taking care of us." Ruth, who was from Moab, told her, "He also said to me, 'Stay with my younger workers until they have finished the harvest.'" Naomi told her daughter-in-law Ruth, "It's a good idea, my daughter, that you go out to the fields with his young women. If you go to someone else's field, you may be molested." So Ruth stayed with the young women who were working for Boaz. She gathered grain until both the barley harvest and the wheat harvest ended, and she continued to live with her mother-in-law. Ruth 3. Naomi's plan for Ruth's marriage. Naomi, Ruth's mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, shouldn't I try to look for a home that would be good for you? Isn't Boaz, whose young women you've been working with, our relative? He will be separating the barley from its husk on the threshing floor tonight. Freshen up, put on some perfume, dress up, and go down to the threshing floor. Don't let him know that you're there until he's finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, notice the place where he is lying. Then uncover his feet and lie there, and he will make it clear what you must do." Ruth answered her, "I will do whatever you say." Ruth at the feet of Boaz. Ruth went up to the threshing floor and did exactly as her mother-in-law had directed her. Boaz had eaten and drunk to his heart's content, so he went and lay at the edge of a pile of grain. Then she went over to him secretly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. At midnight, the man was shivering. When he turned over, he was surprised to see a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. She answered, "I am Ruth." Spread the corner of your garment over me, because you are a close relative who can take care of me. Boaz replied, May Yahweh bless you, my daughter. This last kindness, that you didn't go after the younger men, whether rich or poor, is better than the first. Don't be afraid, my daughter. I will do whatever you say. The whole town knows that you are a woman who has strength of character. It is true that I am a close relative of yours, but there is a relative closer than I. Stay here tonight. In the morning, if he will agree to take care of you, that is good. He can take care of you. But if he does not wish to take care of you, then I solemnly swear, as Yahweh lives, I will take care of you myself. Lie down until morning. Ruth returns to Bethlehem. So Ruth lay at his feet until morning. Then she got up early before anyone could be recognized. At that moment, Boaz thought to himself, I hope that no one will ever know that this woman came to the threshing floor. Then Boaz told Ruth, Stretch out the cape you're wearing and hold it tight. So she held it tight while he measured out 6 measures of barley. Then he placed it on her back and went into the town. When Ruth returned, her mother-in-law Naomi asked, How did things go, my daughter? Ruth told Naomi everything the man had done for her. She said, He gave me these 6 measures of barley and told me not to come back to you empty-handed. Naomi replied, Stay here, my daughter, until we know how it turns out. The man won't rest until he settles this matter today. Ruth 4. Boaz assumes responsibility for Ruth. Boaz went to the city gates and sat there. Just then, the relative whom he had spoken was passing by. Boaz said, Please, come here and sit, my friend. So the man came over and sat down. Then Boaz chose 10 men who were leaders of the city and said, Sit here. So they also sat down. Boaz said to the man, Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab, is selling the field that belonged to our relative Elimelech. So I said that I would inform you. Buy it in the presence of these men sitting here and in the presence of the leaders of our people. If you wish to buy back the property, you can buy back the property. But if you do not wish to buy back the property, tell me. Then I will know that I am next in line because there is no other relative except me. The man said, I'll buy back the property. Boaz continued, When you buy back the field from Naomi, you will also assume responsibility for the Moabite Ruth, the dead man's widow. This keeps the inheritance in the dead man's name. The man replied, In that case, I cannot assume responsibility for her. If I did, I would ruin my inheritance. Take all my rights to buy back the property for yourself, because I cannot assume that responsibility. This is the way it used to be in Israel concerning buying back property and exchanging goods. In order to make every matter legal, a man would take off his sandal and give it to the other man. This was the way a contract was publicly approved in Israel. So, when the man said to Boaz, Buy it for yourself, he took off his sandal. Then Boaz said to the leaders and to all the people, Today, you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon. In addition, I have bought as my wife the Moabite Ruth, Mahlon's widow, to keep the inheritance in the dead man's name. In this way, the dead man's name will not be cut off from his relatives or from the public records. Today, you are witnesses. All the people who were at the gates, including the leaders, said, We are witnesses. May Yahweh make this wife who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, both of whom built our family of Israel. So show your strength of character in Ephrathah, and make a name for yourself in Bethlehem. Also, from the descendants whom Yahweh will give you from this woman, may your family become like the family of Perez, the son whom Tamar gave birth to for Judah. Ruth gives birth to David's ancestor. Then Boaz took Ruth home, and she became his wife. He slept with her, and Yahweh gave her the ability to become pregnant. So she gave birth to a son. The women said to Naomi, Praise Yahweh, who has remembered today to give you someone who will take care of you. The child's name will be famous in Israel. He will bring you a new life and support in your old age. Your daughter-in-law, who loves you, is better to you than 7 sons because she has given birth. Naomi took the child, held him on her lap, and became his guardian. The women in the neighborhood said, Naomi has a son. So they gave him the name Obed. He became the father of Jesse, who was the father of David, the ancestry of David. This is the account of Perez and his family. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nashon. Nashon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of David. This is the word of the Lord. Amen. One of my favorite things about the book of Ruth is how God's hand of providence is evident everywhere you turn on each page. It is also interesting and it's always noteworthy to remember that even though life can get hard, I mean, Naomi lost her husband and then her two sons in a foreign land and had to go back home empty. And chances are that when she left Bethlehem, she was rich because it's only the wealthy people can migrate, best believe. And so coming back empty handed was probably is a great shame, which is probably why she told them to call her Mara, bitterness, instead of Naomi, which means sweet. And so even though all of that tragedy came, at the end of the book, we see how God had still provided and God always had a plan for it. And so we give God thanks that he is faithful. Even when our lows are low, he has a plan to lift us up. So that is the book of Ruth. Thanks for joining me today. And tomorrow we will turn the page and we'll start a brand new book and we will start a brand new week in the Bible in a Year Live Tanakh Project. Blessings.